this video a few hours after I had actually traded. So I wrote my notes to kind of help me remember what I was thinking this morning. I actually got a late start. I only started at 10:34 this morning. And so the market had kind of slowed down at this point, but it was still moving fairly well. It's still decent trading. And I didn't have a lot of time to dedicate to it this morning. So I actually was kind of thinking that it would drop here, and it did. And then it kind of bottomed out and looked like maybe it was coming back up. So at this point, I was thinking there might be somewhat of a recovery, even though we are definitely in a downtrend right now. And I was suspecting that it might come up to, this level, 77, or the green line even of 93, somewhere in there. And we're sitting at 66 right now, 66.50. And we can see on the very short-term chart, kind of right in the middle. All right, so it went down and then it bounced and had some very big green candles, which do show me that, yeah, it's probably going to go up for a little bit here, even though it's probably not going to last real long. So the 30-minute chart over here, which is this one here, I put in some new possibilities. This is more the long-term scenario of where it might drop to eventually. So there's, this red line is based on the support system here. And this red line is these two bottoms right here. The orange line was not including the wick. It was the lowest point over here. Those are all possible support areas. Okay, so I decided at this point, I put my cursor right here to kind of show that this peak right here was exactly where we were, and it was testing it. And I decided that it would probably be good to do a long, but I wanted to wait for the MACD to behave, to turn around and then drop and then come back up again. Meanwhile, the MACD was high enough and we were kind of hitting that resistance and not wanting to go above it. I thought, well, I think there's probably enough momentum to actually ride it down first. So I'm thinking, I got in a short here, thinking that it might go down to this point right here, which would be, 100, 150, something like that. So that was a good trade. Wrote it down, went right to that place that I thought it would, and I got out. So the first trade, I made $125 in that little movement right there. And then, of course, the reason that you don't ever get in and get out at exactly the same place is because your signs just are never the same. Like the time that you get out would be right there, but then you wait and you see for the MACD to turn before you get back in again. Even though it might actually end up being at the same price point, you just don't really see the same information to get out as to get in. So I waited, and it looked like the wick had gone down there. It kind of held at that golden, that gold SMA right there, that support. And then it started to go up. So I got in a long position right here. The MACD is also, as you can see, is starting to turn. It's slightly premature, but the dark red lines that I'm seeing right here, there's like 3 in a row, and they're each a little bit shorter than the previous one. So it's really showing me that there's a fair amount of lost momentum in the downtrend there. And that's exactly at the support. So, there's a lot of reasons to think that it's probably going to go up from this point. And it did. So I put in an exit order up here. Again, this is $150 right here if I sold at this point. And it did. So, wait a minute. What happened? Oh, I think what happened was I didn't get executed there. And then it dropped back down to that support level again. It happened so fast that I didn't, let me go back to that previous slide. Okay, so as you can see, the wick went up, and then I put in my exit order. This is one of those times where maybe putting in an exit order right there would have been a good idea, but I really thought it was going to go up further than that, so I didn't. And so I kind of lost out on this trade right here because by this point it had dropped down, and it's hard to see when it's a still shot like this, but it starts dropping so quickly that you basically you can't get out before it drops and you lose all your profits. So at this point, you just got to kind of wait and see, okay, is it going to bounce off that support and I'll have another chance at it? Or do I just try to get out at 0? And I usually choose, especially since this is pretty sure that it's going up, I chose to take the extra risk and not get out. And it did bounce here. It did drop a little further than I was thinking. But looking at this 15-minute chart, it's still looking like it's going to go up. And I have my exit order right at that gold SMA there, which is up here. I really do think the likelihood of it getting up to that point is pretty good. All right, so the support held. We've got some big green candles here. I'm back in the green here. So I'm pretty confident in this trade. It did drop back down again and test that support. So at this point, you always need to be thinking not only what evidence is there that it's going to go up, but what evidence is there that it's going to go down, because there's always a little bit of both, and you've got to be open-minded with that and decide which is the more probable scenario. Is it, and so at this point I'm thinking, okay, well, the evidence that it's going down is that it has not broken through this ceiling right through here. In fact, this is lower than that. We have tested the limits of this gold SMA, haven't exactly broken through it. You haven't seen the body of a candle actually develop below it, but it's pretty darn close. And it's possible that it will drop down to this point right here, which again is not huge, but kind of ask, okay, well, at what point am I wanting to get out and not hang on to this trade? And am I still thinking that it's going to go up? The evidence that it's going to go up, I think, is more on the longer term charts here. Your MACD on the 30-minute charts much lower than the average line. Your momentum, the RSI, is pretty low. Those are all reasons to think that it's probably going to go up. So, the longer term charts don't always tell you enough information, to do a quick in and out sort of trade. I don't like to hold this particular thing very long because it is so volatile and you can lose a ton of money pretty quickly. So anyway, I had decided at this point that if it dropped below the blue SMA, I would go ahead and get out. Now, as you can see here, it drops below a little bit, and you can get stopped out, and then it continues to go up, or it will kick you out, in this kind of a scenario here. So I didn't put in a stop, but I'm watching it, and I've decided at this point that I will get out if it drops too much below that. So we got close and it bounced up, so that was encouraging. MACD is now below the average line. It's looking good. It did drop back down. Watching it very closely, it's right at that point, and you can see how many orders there are in at that point of buyers. That speaks volumes right there as well, because that will push that back up again, as you can see that it did. Now, to keep that momentum up, you're going to have even more buyers, and it was really struggling. And if I had had a stop below that, I would have gotten kicked out with that little wick that dropped down. So that's why I don't put stops in. I just watch it. And I liked what I saw. This big green candle actually ended before this one, or it ended above this body here, this candle. And so to me, that says, okay, that support is holding. And you can see that, our trend line, our blue line, is going up. So I held on, and it actually worked out well for me. It's a little bit scary right through here, but I never ever was, even in the worst of it, completely in a negative position. I think I lost all the profits of the first trade, but I never was in a negative position. So I was like at zero, so it's not bad. All right, so it went back up, and I'm kind of looking ahead again. You can see the irony is that going down like that actually helps give us the momentum to rise, because then you get some extra oomph from the MACD down here and the RSI. You get lots of different reasons to go up a little bit further. All right, here we are at that ceiling again, and I could do the safe thing and get out. $237 profit. And actually, I think I did, because I forgot. I think I didn't quite catch the screenshot as I sold this. But anyway, I did get out. I played it safe. It's like, well, it's already hit that ceiling like 2 or 3 times already. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get out. And, if it goes up, that's fine. But I'm not out anything. It didn't drop very far. This wick right here is actually, as you can see, it's white. Let me go back one screen again. Okay, so that red candle right there came right back up and ended at the exact same place that it started, which turns it white. That means it didn't go anywhere. It didn't lose any ground, and it didn't really gain any ground. So therefore, the next 2 candles that are green here say that it's not going to drop any further. So I went ahead and got back in a long. I could have held on, as it turns out, but I did play it safe and kind of missed out on a little bit of opportunity there and had an extra contract that I needed to pay, or commission that I needed to pay. But, oh well. Okay, so this scared me a little bit. We dropped maybe just a wee bit, but then it held and bounced back up again. So at this point, I'm pretty confident that we're going to get up to that point, at least, maybe further, I don't know. Okay, so we went up. MACD on the 15-minute chart, you can see right here, is just like forming a golden cross. That's just now gaining a lot of upward momentum. Very promising. Okay, here it's right to my exit order, and I am out. I've done 3 trades. I've made 375. I thought about stopping at this point. It's 11:06. And we've also reached our, resistance level right here. There's lots of reasons to stop. And the MACD is like way, way high, and the RSI is way, way high. It looks like it's going to drop. And it did. And I did the stupid thing here. If I had gotten in right here instead of typing all of this right here, I could have gotten all of this, but I didn't. And by the time I came back, these big red candles were already developing, and I ended up chasing it for, all this space right here, and ended up getting in a short most of the way down. And of course, that was the wrong thing to do, because I got it. Of course, it bounced back up, and I thought, well, shoot. It could bounce back down, but we've definitely developed this uptrend. And so I put in my exit order just 1 tick below, and then I gave up on that and decided I just need to reverse at this point, because it's not going to drop any further. The MACD is turning, and unfortunately, I'm going to lose money on this trade, about $100 actually. And so I did. I reversed at that point, and I gave up $100 or so of my profit. And I thought probably it was going to go up again. Okay, so looking ahead, I kind of zoomed out, and you can see that this green line is up here on this, where it intersects with the blue SMA. So that's a pretty good goal there. You can also see this right here, this peak, and this gold SMA. That's another decent point where it might go just below that green line. It did drop back down to the gold SMA, so I lost a little bit more and seemed to have held up at that support. And so long as this keeps it up, I'm happy. We've gained a lot of momentum on the MACD right here, so that's also very promising. Came back up. I'm still in a long position. Do not see anywhere on here where I've actually put in my order. Oh, I see. So yeah, I zoomed in actually way up here to show where my order was put. Okay, so now I'm back in the green again. I'm getting back that $100 that I lost, and I'm hoping to make even a little bit more than that. But it is 11:25, and I decided I am just going to play it safe. We've hit the same ceiling right here, and it seems to have flattened out. I just got out right here. I got back not quite all of the losses. I was short just a little bit, and I went ahead and canceled this. Got out for the day. I made $315 and decided to call it quits. So there we go.